1800 hours Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Daman Zaman. The headlines. The Prime Minister has directed for the implementation of the Supreme Court order for the release of under-trial and convicted women prisoners. The Minister for Science and Technology says local assembling of electric buses will be started next year. Pakistan Tourism Development Corporation will soon launch a portal to promote the country's tourist attractions across the globe through virtual galleries, videos, and documentaries. In the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, the All Parties Hurriyat Conference has condemned India's nefarious attempts to change the demographic composition of the territory. Afghanistan has resumed the release of Taliban prisoners to clear the way for resumption of intra-Afghan talks. China has rejected an American report regarding a possible doubling of Chinese warheads. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Imran Khan has asked for immediate implementation of the Supreme Court order for the release of under-trial women prisoners and convicted women prisoners who fulfill the criteria laid down in the Apex Court's decision. In a tweet, the Prime Minister said the decision to implement Supreme Court's Order 299 of 2020 was taken after consultation with the Attorney General Khalid Javed Khan and eminent lawyer Barrister Ali Zafar. Imran Khan has also asked for immediate reports on foreign women prisoners and women on death row for humanitarian consideration. Senior leaders of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf called on Prime Minister Imran Khan in Islamabad today. The Speaker National Assembly Asad Kaisar and Prime Minister's Advisor on Parliamentary Affairs Dr. Babar Awan briefed the meeting about legislation and parliamentary affairs. The Minister for Science and Technology Fawad Chaudhry says local assembling of electric buses will start next year. Addressing a news conference in Islamabad today, he said the domestic manufacturing of these buses will start in 3 years' time. He said the government is focusing on electric vehicles and it will bring a revolution in the transport sector. The minister said high technology farms will be developed in order to promote the production of unconventional crops. He said the cabinet has approved industrial and medical use of hemp, and sites have also been identified for cultivation of hemp in Peshawar, Jhelum and Chakwal. The Minister for Economic Affairs Makhdoom Khusro Bakhtiar has called for efficient and effective planning and execution of the Asian Development Bank funded projects. He was chairing the tripartite wrap-up meeting on portfolio review of ADB funded projects worth $6.6 billion in Islamabad today. The minister appreciated the role of the Asian Development Bank in supporting the development agenda of Pakistan and directed the line departments to galvanize the Asian Development Bank funded projects. He said the government would review the progress of the ongoing projects quarterly under the chairmanship of Prime Minister to expedite the implementation of the projects. Pakistan Tourism Development Corporation will soon launch a portal to promote the country's tourist attractions across the globe through virtual galleries, videos, and documentaries. A senior officer of the corporation told APP in Islamabad today that the exclusive e-portal will provide a world-class exposure to Pakistan's tourist attractions through one click. He said the portal would consist of a user-friendly interface to interact with prospective tourists and give them necessary and latest information about the country's tourist attractions. He said a 10-year roadmap to invigorate the tourism industry of the country is also on cards. The chairman of Federal Flood Commission, Ahmed Kamal, says the increased cyclonic activity that led to recent flash floods in Karachi is the result of rising sea levels due to climate change. In an exclusive interview with the News and Current Affairs channel of Radio Pakistan today, he said the outdated water sewerage system was the main reason of recent flooding in Karachi. The chairman said the Commission is working in close liaison with all the national institutions, including the National Disaster Management Authority and WAPTA, to cope with any emergency situation arising out of the likely floods in Islamabad. He said the Commission, in coordination with the Planning Commission of Pakistan, is independently monitoring the flood situation in the country. 16 people have been killed while 31 others injured in rain-related incidents in different parts of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. According to the Provincial Disaster Management Authority, 11 houses were damaged completely, while 83 partially due to the heavy rains and floods in the province. The Provincial Disaster Management Authority teams are engaged in rescue activities in the affected areas. Meanwhile, Emergency Operations Center of PDMA is completely operational to address complaints in any untoward situation through its helpline 1700. The Interior Ministry has rejected the application of American national Cynthia Dawn Ritchie seeking extension in visa. Cynthia Ritchie has been directed to leave Pakistan within 15 days. This is Radio Pakistan. In the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, the All Parties Hurriyat Conference has strongly condemned India's nefarious attempts to change the demographic composition of the territory. The All Parties Hurriyat Conference spokesman, in a statement issued in Srinagar, said the RSS-backed Modi government is imposing new laws one after another to bring about and accelerate the process of demographic change in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. He said under the new so-called domicile law, the Indian administration, in gross violation of the United Nations resolutions and international law, has issued domicile certificates to thousands of non-Kashmiris to allow them to get permanently settled in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. He appealed to the international community to force New Delhi to end its state terrorism in the occupied territory and resolve the Kashmir dispute in accordance with the Kashmiris' aspirations. Meanwhile, the Indian troops arrested 6 youths during cordon and search operations from Birwa area of Budgam in Baramulla town. An assistant sub-inspector of the Indian Central Reserve Police Force committed suicide by shooting himself with his service rifle in a barrack of 33 Battalion headquarters in Badarwa. This incident raised the number of such deaths among the Indian troops and police personnel in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir to 468 since January 2007. On the other hand, an official report, Present Statistics of India 2019, released by the Indian National Crime Record Bureau, revealed that 8,664 persons were lodged in jails of Kashmir Valley and Jammu region during last year. Afghanistan has resumed the release of Taliban prisoners to clear the way for resumption of an intra-Afghan talks. According to officials, 400 Taliban prisoners were freed by the Afghan authorities, while the Taliban released 4 Afghan commandos. China has rejected an American report regarding a possible doubling of Chinese warheads. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson told a news briefing in Beijing that the American report was filled with bias. Earlier in a report, Pentagon had said that China was expected to at least double the number of its nuclear warheads over the next decade. The United Nations nuclear watchdog has said North Korea continues to operate some nuclear facilities at Yongbyon nuclear site. The Vienna-based International Atomic Energy Agency said in its report that the continuation of nuclear program is a clear violation of the relevant United Nations Security Council resolutions. The Israeli army has demolished 2 homes in Al Janab village and agriculture facilities in Wadi al-War area in Hebron province in the south of the occupied West Bank. And finally, the weather. More rain, wind with thunder showers is expected in Islamabad, Upper and Central Punjab, Upper Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan during the next 24 hours. However, heavy falls are also likely to occur in Upper Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Kashmir, whereas hot and dry weather is expected in Sindh and Balochistan. And that is the end of this news bulletin. For more news and analyses, log on to our website, radio.gov.pk, and you can also watch the live video streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.